Hello there, friend and colleague. Welcome back to our limited series conversation. My name is Dr. Nefertiti Poyner with the Dev Center for Resilient Children. But I sure hope you know that already because this is not your first time checking out one of our videos. So in our limited series, what we want to do is take on concepts and ideas and talk about them over a few conversations. We call them chunks. We think that's a good way to make the content easy to digest and hopefully also easy to share. So if you learned something today that you think is worth sharing with somebody else, go ahead and do that. We would appreciate you talking with others about this concept and idea. So remember what we're talking about? We're talking about developmentally appropriate practices. Remember I told you when I first became an educator, I heard the word DAP. Give me some DAP. Remember that was a handshake back in the day, right? Oh, you don't know anything about that? Okay. But the term DAP stands for Developmentally Appropriate Practices. And it's important to know. It's important to know and understand so that we can make sure we're leaning into our children's strengths. We're making sure we're providing play-based experiences to meet their developmental stages. And I remember what the definition said in the first series, we're leaning into the joy of all of that work. So let's talk about the areas of development today, okay? Let's talk about the areas. First area of development for our children is their cognitive ability. And I'm pointing up here to the brain because cognitive development is all about thinking and feeling and processing. And as a mom, as a dad, as a member of the village, we want to make sure we're paying attention to cognitive development. It's how that brain works and thinks and processes. So that's cognitive development. The second area of development I would like to share with us today is social and emotional development. Now, social development is all about how they get along with others. And as soon as a child is brought into the world, they start interacting with people. First, it's that family that they get to see and love, but then they get to meet extended family, and then they get to meet others in schools and childcare centers and communities. How are they getting along with others? That's social development. And social development usually walks very close to emotional development. And emotional development is about how you feel on the inside, how you're processing your big and little and in-between feelings. If you're frustrated, it's okay to be frustrated. But emotional development says, I know what to do when I'm frustrated. So that's emotional development. And then there's language and speech development. Yeah, when the baby was in mommy's womb, we talked to that baby and language and speech was getting picked up by those little neurons in the brain. And then I'm brought into the world and people are talking to me and singing to me and reading to me. It's helping me develop my speech and language. That is an area that we want to think about as we think about the term developmentally appropriate. And then finally, there is fine motor and gross motor. Oh, fine motor is what happens with those little hands. What are we able to do with our little hands? That's fine motor development. And then, do you have a runner, a skipper, a jumper, a hopper, a flipper? I've got a flipper in my house. She can't walk 3 steps without flipping. Mom, look at this. So that's gross motor development when she's walking and flipping and can't get out the house without making a flip before she gets to the front door. That's gross motor development. And so as we continue in our limited series, I just wanted to make sure we were clear about the areas of our children's development. So let's do it one more time. So there's cognitive development. It's about thinking and processing. Then there is social and emotional development, how I get along with others, how I process my feelings. Those kind of examples make up social and emotional development. And then there's speech and language development. And then there is fine motor and gross motor development. Fine motor being more what I do with my hands, and gross motor development, what I do to move my body. All right. So that's all for today. Now come back to the next series because it's in video number 3 where I want to tell you how I messed up some of these areas of development. And I should have known better. But come on back and I'll tell you about that story next time, okay? Dr. Nefertiti Poyner with the Dev Center for Resilient Children. Let's keep learning together. I'll talk to you soon.